Previously on Ballz.
Rob Koenig has joined us on Skype. Gee, such a busy week. Thanks for letting us have a little inside look into your world of commentary box.
You must be exhausted.
I was rubbish.
You were rubbish. What? It broke up at the wrong time, so it sounded like you were rubbish. What did you say?
No, I was hoping to connect with you guys a lot more last week, last fortnight actually, Darren. But those guys had me working overtime, and unfortunately, it coincided a lot when you guys were on air.
Yeah.
So sorry I couldn't touch base with you guys more often.
No, look, we had a lacquer 2 weeks because we caught up with just about every South African tennis legend from the last 30 years. Kevin Curran, Johan Crick chatted to us.
Good.
We had Greer Stevens on Skype from Joburg. You remember her and her run at Wayne Ferreira had a chat to us. You spoke to Kevin Anderson. So we had more than enough people to chat to us while you were busy there, which was really cool. What were you commentating? Where were you commentating? ATP Tour, or I know it's not an ATP event.
Yeah, no. What's happened is the club now has started to take a lot of its right into its own hand instead of delegating everything out to the BBC. And I'm sure you're aware that new media is becoming a big thing now. So they had basically TV online as well as radio online. So I was doing both of those things, which was in and around for the UK.
All right, watch that Ferreira chap. He's trying to step in on your territory there.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good to see Wayne and see him doing a little bit of commentary as well. But obviously, being a senior partner as far as commentary was concerned, I made sure he was in his place, Darren.
That's good, Rob. There we go.
How do you commentate tennis for radio?
It's not easy. Ball by ball is very tough. The job of the color guy pretty much stays the same as far as his analysis of the point is concerned. But when you're doing radio, I mean, you've literally got to describe to the listeners, forehands and backhands and cross courts and set the scene all the time. So it's a lot tougher than what you do for television.
I mean, Blades can do it.
No, you can't.
It's okay.
No, you
Come
can't.
on, Blades.
No,
Here
you
go.
can't.
Here, go, Blades.
Forehand. Backhand. Wonderful backhand. Cross court to Sharapova. Down the line from Azarenka's. Wonderful work by the youngster. See, this is why he sticks to rugby.
It's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
All right, now listen, yesterday, what a day. I think it's the first time in a long time I have been this excited about watching a final. As I tweeted early in the morning, I just found out that there was another person in the final called Roger Federer.
Yeah, he's not bad.
No, but listen, that all that hype must have played right into his hands because there was just no focus on him. As I said, he could have walked to Wimbledon naked and no one would have noticed.
Exactly. No, you're 100% right. And Nadal is also so good at deflecting pressure off him when he's playing in big matches. And this time, Federer didn't have to do anything, Darren. You've hit the nail on the head. So much hype there. It's incredible what went on as far as television and the written press go on about. I mean, it's one of the longest droughts in major sport as far as the UK is concerned. 76 years since they last had a champion there at Wimbledon. So it's a massive deal. And Andy is obviously their big hope. And tennis has been struggling there for so many years now. And the LTA, which is the governing body of tennis in the UK, is just so desperate for somebody to come along and win this damn thing that they can say, there you go, we've got a champion now, get off our back. So, of course, no, it's so intense how the guy even deals with it on a year-by-year basis. I don't know. It's got to be 10, 15, at least maybe even 20% tougher for him to win that tournament than just about anybody else.
Yeah. And well, that's exactly with the pressure. And I was having a conversation with some people on Twitter about the whole game. And one of the guys was asking, who would Federer prefer to be playing in the final? And obviously it would be Murray because of all the attention on him and the pressure on him as well. And the other thing was, I mean, as much as it was a home game for Murray, with that pressure of the home crowd plus everyone sitting on the hill behind the stadium, and the fact that this is Federer's kingdom. He's been there 7 times. He's won 6 of them. So when you walk on centre court, doesn't matter how many people are backing the other guy. This is your hood. You know this hood, and we've seen what has happened to other players like Sampras and those Bjorn Borg and those guys before McEnroe. That when they walk into that court, they know the atmosphere, they know the circumstances. That had to be a big advantage for Federer.
Huge. It's invaluable. You can't substitute experience on occasions like that. And of course, that was the big thing for Murray. He's been in the finals of a major, yes, but it's not the same as being in the finals of Wimbledon, specifically, as you rightly point out, because he's from there. But I think what surprised many of us, Darren, was how well Andy started. There was no signs of any nerves like we'd seen some of the previous majors. And actually, I flew back with Kevin Curran last night, and Kevin was chatting with me at the airport, and he had a lunch the one day with Yvonne Lendl, and who's obviously coaching Andy Murray now, and he has been working his socks off the last 6 months to try and get Andy a lot tougher mentally. And he's in his grill day in and day out about everything that he does, discipline wise, and trying to get control of his emotions and not have these huge fluctuations where, you know, he's ecstatic for a couple of games and then he's rock bottom a couple of games later, and try and keep him more in a happy medium. So it was interesting to hear that, and I think he did a much better job of it yesterday than what he's done in his other finals. And I think Federer played one of the best matches I've seen him play in the last 2 years, maybe. I'm thinking back maybe to the French Open when he beat Djokovic on clay last year. That was pretty good. But this performance today was unbelievable. You've got to take into consideration it's a final. There's a little bit of pressure on him as well, given the fact, you know, a lot of people weren't talking about the records that he was chasing. Now that he's won yesterday, he's going to tie Pete Sampras this week for all-time weeks at number 1. And then next week, when the rankings come out, he will be all-time number 1 leader, because he's going to pick that up as well.
Rob, did you notice a change in Federer the moment the roof closed? It seemed like it was the best thing that could have happened for him, and the worst thing that could have happened to Murray was the rain delay.
Can I step in there? Because there was a change in Federer, but I kind of saw it before the roof closed. His backhand was powder puff in the first set. It didn't seem like it had the kind of power, and then suddenly he got snap into his shot suddenly. So I mean, Simon, the roof was a key area, but I think it happened before the roof closed.
His unforced errors were unusually
Huge,
I mean, there was a huge amount of them.
21-6, I think, at one stage.
Yes, I think he was, in the beginning especially, I think he was unsettled by the aggressive nature of the tennis that Andy was delivering. But once he started to settle into a stride, I mean, I don't know if you remember the last 2 points that he played to win set number 2 was insane. The set point was ridiculous that he played to even things up. And then I think that's when he was starting to hit his stride. And you're right, Darren. I think at the start of the third there, he had changed from like third into fifth. And that's when that's when they had the rain delay and the roof was closed. So I think he was already hitting a stride just before the roof came on. But who's the other voice that I'm hearing there, Darren?
Simon Hill.
Simon, he's one of the best indoor players that's ever lived, is Federer. So when the roof does close, what it does is, because he's such a clean ball striker, when you don't have to worry about the elements, it is even more into your hands. And I think also from a psychological point of view, he knew that. And I think it just helped keep his momentum, and then perhaps even elevated that couple more percent. And that's when we saw him just teeing off on his shots. You know, he can trust the ball through the air because there's no variance because of wind. Serving, there's no sun to deal with either. And I think he's won 214 matches indoor in his career, and the next closest is like 150. Next closest player as far as match wins indoors concerned. So you can see the gulf in class when Federer plays indoors versus any other player on tour. And I think somebody like Djokovic is like mid-80s. So that just gives you an idea of how good Federer is. So from a psychological point of view as well, I think it was a good shot in the arm for Roger.
Could you just clarify, sorry John, why, if they knew it was going to rain, why they didn't start with the roof closed?
Yeah, a lot of people asked us that question throughout the course of the week. You know, that $100 million that they spent on the roof has finally been put to good use. But you got to remember,
Are you launching
Simon,
a missile there?
What's that?
Are you launching a missile while you're chatting to us?
Yeah, I know, that's wrong.
Rob
Let me just put that on
Koenig's
silent.
nuking Jordan as we speak.
But you know, it's predominantly an outdoor tournament, so they'll do everything they possibly can, Simon, to keep the roof open. They have their own satellite receiver on top of the court there. They can really predict the weather up to a minute or two before it's going to start to rain on the grounds. So covering the court can get done very easily, but at the end of the day, it's an outdoor tournament, and they want to do everything in their power to keep it that way. And even if they know that it's going to rain, but the shower is only going to be 10 or 15 minutes, then they won't close the roof. They'll just put on the tarpaulin. As soon as it stops raining, they'll remove the tarpaulin. So that's exactly why they do that.
Just getting back to the women's final.
Hold on, we're not done with the men's
Okay,
yet.
I just want to. Okay.
Let's just quickly look at the future for Murray, because one of the things Fed says, and I don't know if it was, just being gracious in victory for your opponent is obviously very emotional, but he said, Murray will win one at some stage. How do you come back from this, though? Because he was visibly disappointed, emotional, and it's one of those things where you got to start, thinking. I mean, Murray's only 25, so he's young enough still to do it. But do you see him winning one, coming back from this in the next couple of years and winning a Grand Slam tournament?
Yeah, I think the emotion you saw there, Darren, was more because he was playing at home rather than because he's lost a Grand Slam final. I think he'll draw a lot of strength from this one because, listen, he was pathetic in the first three that he played, not even coming close, not even competing decently. I think that's what annoyed a lot of people initially, whereas yesterday he was outstanding. The way he started initially was brilliant, and the way that he hung with Federer. In fact, he had chances there at 4-all in the second set with a few break points, and I'll tell you what, he breaks there, he's got Federer on the ropes. I think he'll be fine. I think he's the kind of player with Lendl in his camp now that is going to draw many positives, knowing that he's coming closer and closer to these guys in the big matches. And I think more importantly, the way he handled himself from a mental point of view and an emotional point of view, there's too many positives to get down on. He's got to stay positive, and I think the US Open is a surface without a shadow of a doubt where he can play his best tennis. I just think it's a little tougher because Novak is so good on a hard court. Novak was caught short against Federer. His movement was terrible because he doesn't like the slippery nature of the grass. He likes to be sure-footed. So I think that's why we saw Novak play so poorly. The big thing for me is Andy beating. I think he can beat Federer and Nadal on a hard court, but to beat either one of those guys and Djokovic, that's the tough part. Whereas this week you only had to really beat one of them.
Yeah. Johnny?
Serena Williams.
Are you off? Are you asking about the men's?
Yeah, I just want to ask.
Hold off, Johnny.
I just want to ask one more thing about. It's a comment, really. It almost seems like Murray, runner-up, and the emotion that he showed yesterday actually did him more favors than winning it. I think people were just so happy to see that the guy actually has emotion, because when he does these interviews, post-match interviews, you think the guy's basically dead, emotionally dead. I think people were just so happy to see the guy actually cry.
It's an excellent point, Simon. Everybody says that all the time, and people get on his case about it all the time. But, I think part of it, this fortnight especially, was to remember that the task wasn't done. He didn't want to show any emotion after the final because it wasn't a case of, wow, I'm happy to be in the final. It was more a case of, okay, I've still got some work to do. And I think that's probably a lot of the influence of Lendl in this camp, trying to keep him less emotional, these huge fluctuations like I was talking about earlier. But I think you're 100% right. He needs to show a little bit more emotion, I believe, when he wins, and it certainly will endear more fans to him around the world. At home he's always going to have the fans, but certainly around the world it would do him more favors.
Johnny?
Robbie, just looking at Serena, I mean, her fifth title and setting down 102 aces as well against Agnieszka Radwanska. But Radwanska just looked a little bit out of sorts. I managed to get it to catch a little bit of that final on Saturday. What did you think?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was exactly how everybody thought it was going to be, John. It was a one-horse race, but she responded really well in the second set, and the crowd really got behind her. And when she won that second set, there were a couple of games early on in the third there, I think it was 2-1, 2-all, where for a moment it looked like there might be some cracks in the armor for Serena. She was lucky to be in the final. She had a couple of close matches, one in particular against Zheng Jie of China. She almost lost that one. And I just thought if Radwanska could keep it close, maybe 3-all, 4-all in the third, she might be in with the shout. But Serena was able to change gears and just draw on that extra reserve, experience, power to kind of distance herself from Radwanska and eventually close it up. But Radwanska is a fascinating player. She doesn't have the firepower of any of these top girls, but she's got this most sublime touch and feel, and she reads the game so well. I think it's still going to be difficult for her to win a major, but it's great to see a different kind of style of tennis, mixing it with the top women. It's easy on the eye.
All right, where are you off to next now? What does life have in store for Rob Koenig now as the tour gets back to some kind of new normality?
Yeah, all the top guys pretty much take the next 2 or 3 weeks off, Darren, and then everybody heads to Toronto for the Rogers Cup there. So that starts, I think, about the first week in August. So I'll be heading over there, and there's 2 big events, Masters 1000 events back to back, Toronto and Cincinnati. Those are kind of like the precursors before the US Open. You have those 2 events. You have a week off, and then it's the US Open. So that all unfolds in the next next 6 to 7 weeks.
We're claiming Roger as a South African because of his mom.
Yeah.
100%.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
you ever think he'll come and play an SA Open now that tournament's getting back on its feet again?
Well, we don't have the SA Open anymore, right?
Have they canned it again?
Yeah. Well, the ATP only gave us
Why?
a 3-year lease for it.
And they haven't renewed it?
No, which is such a pity, because at the finals the government was so impressed by everything that was done. Kevin Anderson winning, dramatic 3 sets, good crowd. But it was the end of the deal with South African Airways, which was a 4-year deal that they had with the tour. And as soon as that expired, the ATP tour kind of pulled the lease on us. Basically, they're wanting more money. They're wanting a new sponsorship deal. It was kind of, we give you the SAA deal, you give us the lease. As soon as it expired, which was a little bit annoying.
I'm sure if Roger just sort of dropped a little hint that he would come and play one. They might
Speaking
find
of
Oaks
that,
queuing
we've been chatting to his agent quite a lot. Trying to put something in the pipeline with the current Davis Cup captain John Lafney Diaga. And I think, if not for a tournament, certainly for an exhibition, that's definitely on the cards.
Wow, that'll be huge.
Then can I just ask one thing? For so many people, I know that Roger Federer's mom's from Kempton Park, but can Robbie maybe clear something? What is their connection to Port Elizabeth? Because they've done stuff there. They put money into PE.
They were nice
Robbie.
now at what's that? Pazula.
And PE.
That's not a charity.
No.
Yeah, what have they
involved
done
in some sporting thing at Pazula or something with Gary Muller?
Roger bought a piece of land there
Okay.
on the estate. So a couple of tennis guys got in, and I think in exchange for publicity, they paid a negligible amount for plots of land that they have there.
Well,
So that was the
ambassador for
Pazula thing.
Yeah.
But Roger is involved with a lot of charities,
Yeah,
John, not
okay.
just one. And I think they're not only all over the country here, but all over Africa.
Okay.
I think it's about 9 or 10 in total.
He's such an awesome guy. I've never met the guy. We actually had an interview that David Mercer did specially for us. Maybe we'll hold that out sometime. He's talking about rugby and how much he supports the Springboks and stuff. About 2 years ago, so maybe we should hold it out. Very, very nice chat. He's just such an awesome, down-to-earth guy, and we're claiming him because he's half South African through his
And
mom.
he's one of the guys, for a top guy, he knows everybody's nickname in the locker room. He knows what you likes, and he's one of the boys, despite being this mega superstar.
Awesome stuff. Rob, thanks very much once again for joining us. I see your family are calling you there, so we look forward to keep us posted on what you're doing, where you are. We always, as I say, we'll track you around the world.
And Rob,
And enjoy your little guy back at home as well, eh?
Yeah, thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
just a small request. We don't want to catch you too timing on us and talking to 5FM again, eh?
What is that all about?
Yeah.
He's in demand. He's in demand.
He's in demand. He's famous.
We just want to know, did they know that you existed before Ballz Radio?
No, true. Eh?
Yeah, just think about who launched you, eh?
Oh, whatever.
No, but no, in all fairness, I've been chatting with CS for the last couple of years. Eh?
Okay, cool.
yes,
That's fine.
yes.
But next time, make sure you get a
Time
Ballz
frame
in
was
there.
better. Like I said to you, if the time frame was early in the morning,
Yes, I know.
you'd
Rob.
guys would be front and center.
All right. As long as next time you talk to the Ginger Ninja, remember just throwing a Ballz there somewhere.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob.
Balls.
We'll catch up with you. Toronto, one of my most beautiful cities in the world. You're a lucky guy to travel the world. Look forward to catching up with you when you're over there, maybe. Okay.
What a pleasure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hello to the little Koenigs.
Hello.
There they are.
Hello, boy.
How many have you got there, Rob?
Yeah, I've got 3.
There we go. Are they playing the game? Have we got some little stars coming through here?
Yeah, this is my little star here,
Is it?
Luke. Yeah,
New
he's,
balls.
How old is he?
Luke's 8, and it's a nice ball.
All right.
And he's gonna turn 9.
That's probably true. He's going to turn 9. How old are you going to turn?
5.
5. Do you play
he
tennis?
says it like I do.
Do you play tennis? Darren wants to know.
What's your name?
Grace.
Grace. And when are
Darren's
you?
just got a little boy that's just come back from hospital, so you must say all the best. Say all the best.
All the best.
Mark.
Thanks, guys and ladies.
All
Cheers, Rob.
the best.
All the best. There we go. Thanks, Rob. All the best, buddy. We'll
Darren,
chat to you later,
thanks,
man.
Simon.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Rob.
bye.
Thanks.
Cheers, Robbie. Thank you, Rob.
Cha-cha. Rob
Bye.
Koenig joining us here on Ballz Visual Radio, post-mortem of what happened at Wimbledon.
We the best on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the best.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on balls.co.za. Balls.co.za.